What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm going to be taking a quick look at Renowned Explorers International Society by Abbey Games, who are the guys who made what I think was probably one of the earliest critique videos I ever did, which was Rus? I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I was never sure how you pronounce that. I asked them, and I asked them at a PAX once, and they told me, and I still don't remember it. I think they're Dutch, so that's probably why I can't wrap my tongue around that one, but whatever. This is their new title, and I was intrigued to see where they'd gone, and they've gone interesting ways with it. This is a hard one to categorize. It's guess a little bit choose your own adventure narrative kind of thing, quite a lot resource management, with some RPG elements as well, and all a bit of a steampunk twist to it, which is rather nice to see. So it's definitely an interesting beast, so let's take a look at it. Let's head on into the options first. I got a few kind of quality of life tweaks and things here. You can skip the intro stuff if you played the game before, you don't want to see that again. And so, yeah, some of the animations you might want to skip. After you've played through a number of campaigns, you might decide that they're wearing a little thin, and you might want to speed up the combat that way. In the video options, we have resolution, VSync, and the terrain texture resolution. It's not a graphically intensive thing, it's kind of got a very strong kind of cartoony kind of style to it, so I suspect it probably doesn't need a whole heck of a lot more than that. Audio options, music and sound on separate sliders, and a master volume. There's no voiceovers, so that's all that needs. Audio, yep, ticks all the boxes. I'm happy with that. Let's head on in. Let us, first and foremost, I want to start a new game, just so you can see kind of how you begin things. Kind of got discovery mode, which is a little bit more forgiving. If you screw things up, you can go back and do over. Adventure mode is a little bit more roguelite-y kind of thing. Roguelite, I don't know, one of those two. Which is, if you screw up and fail an expedition, that is it, your team is over, and you gotta go pick a new team and start again. I think that's probably, I get the impression that's more how the game is intended to be played, but they'd never particularly suggest that. It's just, which do you prefer? But I feel like that's the way it should be played. So we have a selection of people. We have 5 scientists, 5 scouts, 5 fighters, and 5 speakers. By default, you only have an option of 1 of each available to be a captain. As you go on expeditions with them, say if we wanted Earl Shanty, if we wanted to use Earl Shanty as our captain, we would have to take him on two expeditions with someone else as a captain. If we wanted Hatis, we need to go on 3 expeditions. The different characters have different sort of requirements. They're all generally just kind of go on expeditions with these characters. Some of them require more, some of them require less. Some of them are 2, some of them are 4. I don't think I've seen any more or less than that. So, yeah. Just take them on your adventures and you'll be able to have them lead the team. Molly is, I think, the only one I've actually unlocked at this stage. Molly Jones took her on a couple of adventures, and she's now eligible to be a captain for the team. And each of the characters has got their own different perks as a captain, so as you unlock them, you'll be able to build different and more interesting teams. It'll give you some recommendations, as you can see on the side there. It gives you a bit of an indication of what her stat balance is going to be, and who she would work well with as a team. So all the characters kind of have different kind of... You can resolve combat and situations through aggression, through trickery, and through speech, indicated by these icons up top. And you can see where their strengths lie. So Molly is a brawler, she's got high attack. If we were to take Harry Walker, he's kind of well-balanced. No real defenses, but fairly well-balanced. If we had... I'm looking to see if we've got anyone I've unlocked that's better. She's a more of a treacherous kind of one. Balanced speaker, high speech, good defenses. We'll take Molly. Just go offensive, because I like offensive. Once we get onto the crew members, any of them are unlocked. You can take anybody as a crew member. So then we can look at Molly. It's like, oh, she would go well with Jean-Pierre and Earl. I'm not sure who Jean-Pierre is. You kind of have to hover over them to see. It would be interesting to, or at least quite nice to just have maybe a highlight one of the characters and say, this is a recommended character, rather than going, who's Jean-Pierre? And it turns out this. Jean-Pierre Corneille. All his friends have full and exuberant beards, but Jean-Pierre cannot grow one himself. Searching for self-respect, this sailor now travels the world's most exotic places. And he works well with Molly, because he is also aggressive, so I guess together they combine to form a fairly aggressive team. If you wanted to make a more balanced team, we could go with Emilia, who is more of a defensive scientist. She has good speech defenses, she works well in devious teams and friendly teams. If you wish to resolve things friendly, she's a friendly character. And so we've got a nice balance of speech and aggression. And if we were to go with them, we could find... Yeah, ideally, I think you want to be getting kind of a mix of different things. You could go with 3 fighters, you could. I feel like he would kind of want a balance of other things, so I could go with a scientist, a scout, and a fighter, or you can only pick 3, so you're going to have to leave someone behind. But if we looked at diplomats, who else could we have? Look at our Charles Templeton with that fine mustache of his, and he's kind of devious. He's devious, and he is a diplomat and a survivalist. So that, I think, would be a well-balanced crew, I would say. You've got your aggression, you've got some healing, you've got some trickery, and you've got a diverse array of skills. So it's up to you how you want to play this. There's a whole different array of ways you could play this. You can see from the icons up top, they're not particularly... this team doesn't excel in any one area, but they're a good, well-balanced team, I would say. That may be to its detriment. You might be better to have one particular area in which they truly excel, but not this particular team. Either way, I'm going to go back to menu, because I don't want to go through the whole tutorial intro-y kind of expedition, because you will go through kind of fairly basic expedition with any team. I have got a save game, which is this particular one. So let's load up this one. Right, so I have a team. I have Molly, which we've just seen. We've got Bea Heckerton, who is more of a tactician, and Maria Rodriguez, who is a beguiler. She will charm the pants off any enemy. And we currently have a few upgrades to spend. This is kind of our expedition board. This is between missions. We can go to choose expedition. It will show us what is available. I think you start out with this one is the Irish Isles, but we've got a Caribbean island is a 2-star mission. There's a nice piratey themed one. There's Icelandic. Oh, Icelandic we've already been. Oh no. Yeah, I thought it was normally sort of somewhere in the UK it began. No, I guess this particular one began in Iceland. And we have a Hungarian Fort, so a couple of two-star areas that I can explore, and that 1-star is the one I started at. So there you go. We've got a couple of we'll go to Hungarian Fort, which is all dark and scary and cultists, if memory serves. We've got pirates, which obviously I like pirates. But before we go into a mission, we have a number of resources that we do need to manage. It is resource management. When you go into a mission, you will collect all the things up top here. And it's quite a complex system, so we're going to have to explain a little bit. We have collect tokens. You can collect tokens from... You'll pick up a lot of these as we go along. They will reward gold. If we get treasure hunt tokens, we can get gold and status. Campaign will reward a status. Secrets provide research and status. Study provides research. Discoveries provide gold and research. And encounters, which basically your combat, provides gold and status, which are then all these stats up top. Gold will let me buy gear. Status will allow me to influence people and basically hire kind of people who will help me and buff me in the various ways. Research is kind of your talent tree, which is over here. And if we close that. And then we've got Insight, which allows you to earn some more of the tokens whilst we're on the map. So there's a lot going on, even between missions. It's not just pick a mission and go, there's a lot to do. So back to the world map, first and foremost. What I want to do, first and foremost, is spend all my Insight. We've got those, so I should be using those. We can go to Berlin University to spend those Insights on... We can get a little bit of research, but not much. These guys are not a particularly scientifically minded team. We go to campaigning. A little bit better at campaigning. We can earn a bit more status that way. And if we go to London to do some lecturing, we can earn a bit of money, or for some reason, some combat insights. I don't know why that's that, but I guess Bea's a fairly aggressive kind of character, so maybe that's why she earns that. Either way, I've got, I think, probably what I would want to do is campaigning, I feel. You could do a mix. I might do a couple of campaigning and a couple of lecturing jobs. So... that way we've got a bit of money and a bit of status. So these are the tokens that we're earning, and they get converted immediately into the resources because we're on the world map. On an adventure, they don't get converted immediately. They get converted at the end of an expedition. So now we've got our resources from the Insight. We might want to spend the money at the shop. So they're still in our basic gear. I'm kind of after the first mission here. This is literally I've just completed the tutorial stuff. So I want to upgrade some of their armors maybe. Let's give them some better armor. And them. And to be fair, they could all probably use some... Actually, you know what? They would be better off with some speech defense. And I'm gonna sell the others because I don't need them. That gives me some money to buy decent gloves as well. I'm wondering who could use that. Or a decent book. Book would also be useful. I feel like I would like to give the decent gloves to... Molly, there we go. So then I got a well-equipped leader on my team. That's good. That's my money spent. Then we need to spend our influence. Our influence can buy us either some specialists, which give us extra tokens during encounters and things. So, we got Shark Super Sewer. Okay, some sort of lawyer character, I guess. If we have him on our team, he will give us extra collect tokens when we resolve encounters with chicanery and treachery. Amelie the Decorated, someone more militarily minded. If we resolve things aggressively, they will give us more campaigning tokens. And Igor the Plotter also will reward treachery with some studying. Or we can just get helpers, which are a lot cheaper and just sort of more... They just buff the amount that you will get from tokens. So lobbyists will give us more campaign, merchants will give us more collect, and students will give us more study. Since studying is kind of a weak area, I might pick up a couple of those. And I got 14 more points, so get a little bit more money out of things as well. So there we go, that's my team, that's what I've got from those. They're going to help me out on my travels. And then we got the research tree as well, which I have to leave the map to go to. It's kind of odd. Then we can you got to unlock each section individually, and the research cost of everything will just increment for every single thing that you unlock throughout this. Each tree doesn't have its own cost. It's kind of, if I unlock that and then unlock that, that will cost more than this. So we can unlock preparation, which will let us be better prepared for things. We'll gain more study when we're doing a study job. To be fair, I feel like I should have done that before I did anything on the world map, but hey ho. And that will give us more research from encounters. So these will let us excel in combat. So you know what, let's take that. And I got 32 research, and the next one's going to cost 20. So get more gold and status from encounters, or just better resolve. Resolve is kind of a measure of... It's almost like an overall entire kind of life meter for the entire team. If your resolve drops to 0 at any stage, you're out of the game, and that's it, your adventures end. So you don't want to lose those too much, so having an extra couple of those might be very useful, but then the next one is going to cost me 30 research, so... yeah, so that is yet another resource to manage up there. So we now have 5 resolve on our team. If we lose all 5 resolve, our adventures come to an end. Each of the characters themselves then has their own tree. This is ridiculous. I've been here 12 minutes. We haven't even got into an adventure yet, but I promise soon. I promise soon. So she can pick from a couple of things at each stage. You will get an ability with each of these, or at least where the square icons are indicated. So she will learn Seduce whichever one of these perks I pick. But I can give her Archaeologist perks, which may be useful in our adventures if I find some archaeological ruins, or Beguiler Charms, which makes her even stronger in what she already does. She'll be a very charming person. And they will influence your stats accordingly. So Beguiler gives a more speech attack, and Grit, which is kind of a chance of evading attacks. So we can have 1 speech and 2 speech defense, or 2 speech attack and 1 Grit. I feel like I would like the Archaeologist. I feel like she's a strong Beguiler already, so we'll give her some archaeological abilities as well. We want to upgrade Bia. Bia will have even more tactician stuff, giving her probably even more attack. Yep, more attack and armor. She'll be pretty strong in that regard. Or we can make her a quick thinker, which will allow her to solve things much maybe like, oh, maybe there's a trap or something that she will need to evade on the map. So we could unlock that, and that will give her a little bit more speech power and some more grit. Again, she's kind of brute force here, so let's go all out with the brute force on this particular character. And then Molly, who's also fairly brute force, to be fair. Let's see, she's currently an archaeologist with a couple of rogue abilities, and I could take athlete for tenacious, which would be yet another kind of tree that she's working on, or rogue sneaking, which will make her even more potent rogue. Give her more attack and some grit. I kind of like that. So now she is sneakier. Let's go on an expedition. I think I finally spent most of my resources. I haven't, have I? I've still got room for... Have I got room for this? Yes, I do. Yeah, let's take these. Sure. Great. You can then upgrade these as well. With more resources, you can take upgrades, and I will be able to hire even higher level ones. So if I were to click that, well, ta-da! Now you're allowed journalists. And I can upgrade further, but that's going to cost even more. But now we can have journalists and traders. Traders are going to give us even more gold from encounters and status from encounters. Cool. Can't afford those right now, but I think I might have actually used my resources now. Good. Let's go on an expedition. Let us go do pirates, because pirates. The fierce Dutch pirate Roche disappeared many years ago after burying his pirate treasure. Monkeys and smugglers will oppose you. An aggressive approach could make it easier. There will be nature challenges, there will be technique challenges, there is a lot to study for research, and when you complete it, it will unlock new shops. So let us go on that. I don't know if my team is necessarily the best suited to doing this, but it did suggest aggression, and we definitely got an aggressive team, so you can kind of get a handle on what you might be likely to expect. So we start our search for the treasure, and we know from a map that we have been given that it is near a waterfall, so we must explore this island. There we go, we know where the waterfall is. So we're looking around, there's some man-made debris, the island is not uninhabited. I think most of the expeditions begin with an encounter of some sort, so ta-da, smugglers are how we open this one. So let's do a little smuggler fight, let's do that. So this is the encounter map, where we've got, these shows kind of the outcome, of all the possible outcomes of your combat. We've got friendly, we can resolve it friendly, we can resolve it devious, and we can resolve it aggressive. If we resolve it friendly, we'll gain extra tokens at the end of it. So it's worth our while to do that if we want to get the extra rewards. But that might be difficult because obviously these smugglers are approaching us fairly aggressive. We've kind of got, there's a mood system to combat, which is just kind of weird. And I'll try to explain it the best I can, but it's, like everything else in this game, it's horrifically complex. So we know that their attitude is aggressive. We haven't made any moves yet, so our attitude has not been established yet. And then there's a sort of rock, paper, scissors kind of thing going on with this. If your current attitude is weak to the opponent's attitude, you'll have a debuff and they'll be more effective against you. If you use the if you use the attitude that is effective against the opponent's one, then you'll have the upper hand. So were I to start using devious abilities, that will push my mood into devious, and devious is superior to aggressive. So, and since they are currently aggressive, that's what I would want to do. However, I get the bonus rewards for being friendly, but if I were friendly, they are stronger than me. So there's kind of a trade-off there. It's like, you can go for the rewards, but it's going to make your life significantly harder. As it is, I think I might just go all-out aggressive, because since aggressive is kind of our style here. So each of our characters has got kind of a basic attack, which will just deal their attack damage to the opponent and reduce it. It'll be reduced by whatever armor those guys have. In this case, it's 0, so that's no big deal. We have our devious ability, a Terrify, which will use our speech power, and it has a chance to give them a debuff. Each character then has they've got this blue meter or yellow meter for the enemies, which is basically your health meter. It's your spirit. It's not really health. It's spirit. Your spirit can be broken, and you will leave. Because, quite frankly, a lot of encounters won't be resolved by stabbing them. You can remove someone from the battlefield by terrifying them or whatever. And we can encourage them. That will also, for some reason, it's weird, friendly abilities can be used as an attack as well. And if I were to use a friendly ability on an opponent, I could make them confident, and it would still reduce their spirit meter. If their spirit meter hit 0, they would be confident that my cause is the right cause, and they would join my cause, is kind of how that one plays out. Which is an unusual way to think about how combat plays in video games, but it's the way it works in this one. A little odd. So let's actually try hitting some people. So we know that being devious is going to work effectively. So I could use my speech here, although Bea Heckerton is not a terribly great speaker, more better at stabbing people. So do I have any strong speakers? She's got 23, 36. Yeah, she's going to be a strong speaker. So her Sadden ability, which has a good range on it, can hit people a few spaces away, and it can hit them for 36. So this is probably going to work on this guy. Not quite entirely. I wonder if we could buff her. And right-click to get out of that. So we've got Encourage will give them confidence, which makes their attacks more powerful, and Impress. We can try to Impress, which will reduce defense. I don't have any useful speech buffs. Some of these can be used to buff opponents, but in this case I don't think it's going to work. We've got Seduce. I could use Seduce potentially. Yeah, Seduce will work. There we go. Got some more potent abilities, one of the special abilities, so it's going to be on a bit of a cooldown. But there we go. The smuggler is impressed and doesn't want to stop us. So there we go. We solved that one that was kind of friendly, which now makes us kind of weak. We can change the mood. It shows you exactly how many moves of a specific type you're going to have to make in order to change the mood. So if I stab them, it's just going to go to a general aggressive mood. And if we go to Devious, it would change the mood to Provocative, but I will have to use 3 Devious attacks now to change the mood to Provocative mood. And as it is, because I opened with a friendly attitude, well, now I actually have a minus 30 armor debuff. Because, well, we're friendly and that's weak to attack, so we got the debuff. So I probably want to change that mood to aggressive pretty quickly. So I think taking my more aggressive character and hitting my opponents would probably not be a bad way to do that. Although I have my unnoticeable attack, which does not influence the attitude, which is not what I want to do, because I kind of do want to influence the attitude. I think I'd be best off just hitting them. Let's do that. 1 melee attack. Man down. And now the mood changes hostile. So devious abilities on both sides, really, allows you an extra 25% power, because it's superior to the opponent's style. However, at the minute, it's kind of neutral. So nobody's got any buffs, nobody's got any debuffs. Really. Kind of on a level footing. So I can now use my Terrify, which now has the plus 25% buff because the attitude is hostile. I can try and terrify them that way. However, it's not going to change the mood immediately. I need to use this 3 times to change the mood to something else. And I would have to use friendly now 5 times to turn it from hostile. From a hostile attitude, you know, you got to be really, really nice to the enemy to make the attitude positive one. So I'm going to use that. That's going to terrify them. That's going to apply a debuff as well. Because their mood, you've got below your health, your spirit, below that we've kind of got a mood meter, and negative emotions are in the red, positive emotions are in the green, and you can push the meters back and forth. So that ability that I just used, the Terrify, if their mood is in the negative, the target will become terrified. If their mood meter was in the green, that wouldn't have applied the debuff. It would have done the damage, it would have moved their mood meter down towards the negative, but if their mood meter was still in the green, they wouldn't become terrified and they wouldn't have received the debuff. So if I click on them now, we can see, oh yeah, their attack power is reduced by 25% because I have terrified him. And that is all my characters who moved, so that's the end of the turn. You can see there's also those glowing yellow spaces, which is just going to slightly restore, I think, 15% of your spirit each turn. So if you're kind of in overwhelming odds, it might be a useful idea to just kind of fight from that territory. As it is, what have we got? We've got the unnoticeable attack. I kind of don't want to do that. I would kind of want to... Well, I was thinking I want to resolve it devious, but I kind of don't. Ideally, obviously, we want to be resolving it friendly, but that's kind of a big ask at this stage. So I would be best off. We could use the unnoticeable attack. No nearby targets. Okay, that doesn't work then. Is that? Oh, it's a melee range. The icon looked like it was a gun, so I kind of inadvertently assumed that was a ranged attack. It is not. We can go over there. We can still do the unnoticeable attack. Now we'll finish the fight as well. Quick and deadly. And that should be the end of the encounter, I believe. Because our mood at the end was aggressive, that was an aggressive victory. That gives us 2 encounter tokens. Had we done it friendly, that would have been 3. And one of our team members gets a buff, because we were aggressive. I'm so strong, people should revere my strength, so she gets plus 5 armor and plus 2 attack power for the rest of the expedition. Unless we change the mood of the expedition by resolving a lot of encounters differently, then someone else might get a different buff. But for now, she gets those particular stats. So with the smugglers out of the way, we can hide our boat and explore the island. It seems the island is a smuggler's hideout. Better be careful. Molly leads to adventure. So now we can get on to exploring things. We kind of got this node-based system on the map, so we can move around. We can go to... All the yellow ones are unexplored. This one has some status. This has gold. And it has a wits challenge, and it will cost... all the numbers on the map is how many supplies it will cost to get there. We have 10 for the adventure to begin. I can pick some up. You might find some places that you will be able to get some of those as you travel around. But for the moment, we have 10. 10 out of 10, because well, obviously we just started. So it will cost me 1 supply to travel to here, and it will cost me 0 to travel to here. So it seems like that would be advantageous just to head straight here and see what we can make out of it. From here, a group of locals. If we can impress them, they might shower you with gifts and respect. So all of our different characters, based on their skills and abilities and stats, will have various different odds of success, and you can choose who you want to try and do things. So Molly will try to impress them. So you only have a 13% chance to succeed. So that if we were successful, we would gain some campaign. We would gain a couple of collect tokens, and she would earn a bonus 1 for 1 campaign and 3 collect tokens, which at the end of the mission obviously gets converted into the stats to use for the next mission. Beer also is 13. You get minus 10% from base chance. They're both clearly not good at this. And then you get the rest of the stats comes purely from their speech power. Meroka is obviously well skilled in the verbal arts, so getting for some reason a minus 10% base chance, but she has high speech power. She gets 20% from the speaker traits and 40% from beguiler, so she has an 86% chance to succeed. Molly, apparently, I'm not sure how this... Oh, this is because I'm a level 1 rogue, apparently. Molly, in spite of her base stats being 13 to do it, she can apparently, as a rogue, tell an impressive lie, which is just guaranteed success. Which gives us a little bit more campaign, and in fact the same amount of collect, 3 collects. So yeah, that's probably what I want to do. You can, in a lot of instances, there is kind of a, I don't fancy my chances, I'll just take kind of a token effort. So if that was like 13, 13, 13, and there was no option for an impressive lie, I could just click that and just claim the one campaign token. At the same time, to be fair, the penalty for this one is actually not negative. There is -0 campaign. Other ones could be a lot more serious. There are some challenges that will say, oh, -2, I forget what they're called, whatever the exclamation mark tokens are, the ones that basically your campaign health that I've forgotten the name of for some reason. That one's just eluded me, but yeah, there could be serious penalties for failure, and you might not want to take that. You might want to be like, hey, let's just mix in together and have a good time, claim 1 token, and pass the challenge. It's kind of a gimme, but it's there if you don't like what you got. In this case, because I will do this, yeah. The locals are stunned. Molly claims to have arrived here on the back of a giant flying fish and is now in command of a 1,000 turtle army. The locals bow down in awe. The crew receives gifts and praise from the locals. So we got a whole bunch of stuff, so those tokens go to the top, and they will stay there until redeemed later. So we can go there for another fight. It is free to travel there, so it might not be a bad idea, but I want to show you more of the map. Were I playing this, I would take all the zeros offhand just to see what I could get out of them, I think. But for now, I don't think I want to do that. We shall head over here. There's a challenge. An engineer or rogue may be useful in a technique challenge. And I have a rogue, so let's see what we can do with that. Materials can be used to make gear and tools. Materials could also just be studied. Admittedly, we still don't have particularly good skills, good chances here, which is strange, given that it just told me that I would need a rogue. Molly apparently doesn't get anything from that. It does say an engineer or a rogue, so I guess it's kind of a 50-50, could go either way. You might need one, you might need the other. If it was a challenge that said, hey, you need a rogue for this, I guess that would probably be like close to 100%. As it is, I need an engineer, and I ain't really got anybody who's strong at engineering. I think some of them may have had options for engineering when I was picking perks, if I seem to recall. I think, did Maria have an option for engineering? Dang, that's something I missed, but there we go. Either way, again, the penalty for failure on all of these is we don't lose anything. However, the gimme in this instance is just take 1 study token. Just some very basic study. So I'm likely to fail this one, and if I fail it, I don't lose anything, except the resources it cost me to get here, I suppose. Or I could just take the 1 token, and since I genuinely don't think any of those are going to go in my favour, I'll just take the study token. Molly just decides to take the materials to study, after which the crew continues exploring. Cool. So there is an unexplored one there, but there's no icons. It will cost us to travel there, and we're not going to find anything there, so it might not be our interest to go there. However, I did recently find that actually there's a bunch of these on each island that you will go to, or each area, not necessarily island, but each area that you go on an expedition, there are a whole bunch of these, and one of those is going to have some crazy big treasures, so you might want to spend some supplies heading to a few of these if you've got some spare supplies, if you're doing well with supplies on an adventure, because it might pay off quite well. In this instance, I'm not going to press my luck by just heading to random ones, so let's go speak to a trader. There is a trader here. So, supplies and items are being sold. So, resolve, that was the resource I couldn't remember the name of. So, you can trade 4 supplies for 1 resolve, which is not a bad little deal. If you want to extend the length of your campaign and head around the island and explore things, you could take that. If you're doing really, really strong on resolve, if you've got loads of resolve, you might want to take that deal. Resolve is kind of important, and I have 5, which isn't bad, but I don't think I would want to trade it away, to be honest. We can look at what's on sale. There's a dagger, a glyph, and a talisman, but I ain't got enough money, so there's a thought, you might want to bring some money on an adventure with you as well. You might not want to spend it all in the shops on the world map. I kind of did, so yeah, I can't afford anything here, and I'm not willing to take the resources deal. So we can head on. There's a lot of this. There's just lots of random encounters, and in many respects, I feel this is very similar to something like Out There. So what have we got? We've got the ability to get a shortcut, which might have some resources. Molly, from her base chance and grit, might be okay at it. Ideally, we're looking for a survivalist here. No one is a survivalist. We could look for a different route, which will just give us one resource, which is basically what it cost us to get here. So I won't lose anything. But again, the actual... So I could just take one resource, or the chance of failure is someone injures themselves slightly, I guess, is probably what goes on there. We'll have a go with Molly at 32%. I don't fancy my odds. With the odds-based one, you kind of get this Wheel of Fortune kind of dealy, and we succeeded. Huh, there you go. So we've got bountiful gems and supplies. So 2 supplies and 2 collect tokens. I presume the bonus is basically something from Molly, because she seems to keep getting the bonus tokens. So those are fun. So there's a whole variety of different challenges to collect, and some of them were bigger than others. Obviously, something with lots of tokens like this is where we're going to. There'll be a big task at the end of this that will require us to complete lots of these challenges, and then finish with an encounter as well. And if we do it, we'll be successful, and we'll have generous prizes and treasures await us, and much prestige. And ultimately, the main resource, the renown, up here is what we're trying to get. We are trying to become the most renowned explorers, basically. So that's what you're going for, and treasures and tokens and things will all convert into renown. So yeah, you want those, and you want to succeed at these big purple dots. Big purple dots are basically where things all kick off. But until then, I've got 9 resources to explore, so I kind of need to keep heading on around this island. So it's taken me about half an hour to explore and explain the mechanics, hasn't it? Really, it's an astonishingly complex game. Visually, it's very simple. I like the style. I love this kind of cartoony kind of style that all the characters got going on. I think it's a gorgeous looking game. I really like it. We've got cargo. Molly can pass as a smuggler because she's a rogue. Excellent. So we're going to take that. What have we got? We've got carefully packed porcelain. A chance to notify the authorities and become lauded, or sell the information to a black market lord. So we can gain 2 campaign tokens, or we can gain 2 collect tokens. It's do we want status, or do we want money, is what we want from that. I feel like I want some money, so I'm going to sell that. There we go. Cool. Excellent. Wonderful. So yeah, visually it looks great. The music as well. I'm really enjoying the soundtrack to this game as well. I think all in all, the aesthetic and general style of the game is really impressive and cool. Some interesting stuff over here, so let's go have a look at this. Mechanically, I do think it may be too complex for some people. I kind of dig it. Like I say, in many ways it's similar to something like Out There. What can we do here? We've got physical challenges. We can choose who to climb the tree, huh? Huge tree that towers above the canopy. We need physical challenges, biological data, or hidden bounties. So, is any of my people going to excel at any of that? Molly, I guess? Yeah, sure. Molly climbs the tree for 30 minutes, the canopy is finally reached. Things to explore. Do you want to study the jungle canopy or return to the ground? Yeah, I want to study the canopy. A very biodiverse place. Molly takes time to document the things here. It will surely be useful for later studies. Gain 4 study. Cool. Is there something else left to do? No, not much. That was a pretty straightforward encounter, really. There we go. Just got a bunch of study, so that's going to give us research and basically be converted into talents later when we get back. Mechanically, I do think, yeah, it's going to be too complex for some people. It reminds me in many ways of Out There. Out There, I think, was probably more complex, but I don't think it necessarily asked you to juggle quite so many things at once. It only ever asked you to deal with certain elements at a certain time. Like, your spaceship could only use a few fuels, so you only had to deal with those particular resources. Whereas here, it's like, we've got 9 different kinds of tokens, which convert into 3 different kinds of resources, as well as these insights, which come from treasures and from completing these, which can then be converted into tokens to convert into the resources, and those resources can be used to buy perks and stat upgrades and things, and all the while we're also trying to manage our supplies and, excuse me, not run out of resolve, and ultimately try and gain renown. There's almost too many resources to manage. I've kind of got my head around it, but it's taken me a few hours to do so, and I think that's going to be intimidating to a lot of people. But some people will also get a kick out of that, and I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm really liking this game so far. I'm quite happy to recommend it, I think. What have we got? So we've got crew can be improved here, so new different types of events. The crew finds material to improve gear. Could study the materials for later. So again, none of them are particularly good at this, so we could just study it. Let's just take the study, because they're not going to do that. Great. We can move on and get some research. Yeah. So this is out now. This is I don't know what's going on with my voice at the minute, so I apologise for this, but this is out now. This is on Steam, available for Windows and Mac, available for £14.99 or your regional equivalent, and they got a discount of 25%, bringing it down to $11.24 for the first week. And I think this is very cool. I can happily recommend this, and I think people should be checking this out. This is my kind of thing. I did enjoy Out There, so I do like this kind of thing. And I just thought, I really love the style, and I really love what's going on. It's really cool. And I like steampunk. That helps. In distant places, you're bound to make some discoveries. Molly asks people to keep their eyes open. They're not going to do very well, are they? Erin could make some quick observations. I'll see what Maria does. Spin the wheel. No. No. Oh well. Nothing useful. The jungle scents and sounds are too distracting. There you go. This is Renowned Explorers. There's another entire challenge thing here. This is ultimately the goal, but there's a massive thing here as well that I could go to, and probably should, because there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff, and I've got the resources to go to it. It's just really interesting, the amount of stuff going on. It's just fantastic. Yeah. Renowned Explorers International Society. I've been Meroka. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Yeah!